As we all know, we are in an absolutely epic, great big boom for trading cards. And there are many of us who are tossing around the idea of doing cards as a full-time gig or part-time gig and just enjoying the hobby altogether. And today I want to tell you exactly why I am so passionate about wanting to do this as a full-time deal. I'm going into this thing full-time. I have 1 week left until that happens. Little background on me. I actually am a painter. I paint cars for a living. I am going into cards full-time after years of doing it. I've been selling and flipping and enjoying the hobby since probably 2018-ish, 2019, before the last boom. We go through these booms and busts, and I have stuck around through it, through the thick and thin. Originally, I got back into it because of a passion that I had as a kid with sports cards. And it slowly grew into something that I wanted to do to make a little bit of money on the side. I was getting into breaks and rip and ships, trying to make a buck. And I was losing. And I still wanted to do it because I enjoyed the community that I was part of. I haven't left that community. I'm still interacting with that community, even though I don't get into breaks. I learned hard lessons along the way, and the hard lessons that I learned were the fact that you can't rip to make a profit. It's not the way to make a profit. You can rip as an enjoyment, a little pastime, a little hobby. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to actually create money from this, you have to think about what you're doing. And I've been thinking about it hard, about the money aspect, for probably about 1.5 years. Actually figuring out the right way to do things. And it has taken a lot of trial and tribulation to get to this point. And a lot of battles that I have had to go through to get to this point. I've been selling on eBay off and on for probably about 3 years, and it took a long time to get to the point where I feel comfortable enough to decide that I can use that as an aspect as a full-time gig. And I think you got to go through the bumps and the bruises along the way in order to build calluses and continue to grow what you're doing. You can't just jump into this thing and expect to make $1 million, expect to make a fortune. It is not quick money. The money moves fast, but it is not get rich quick. It's a slow nickel over a fast dime. But I'm going to be honest, it's not the money that is making me want to do this. I enjoy the hobby so much. I enjoy the interactions that I have with all of the people around me, the people that I interact with on a daily basis in the trading card hobby. I really enjoy it. But what it really is the fact that I can do this from home, mostly. I do go to card shows and other things. But when I go to card shows, I'm able to take my kids with me, and they are there with me enjoying it. And that's really it. My connection with my kids is the most important thing to me in my entire life. I'm able to work from home now. We live in a crazy world where technology has allowed us to do things that we wouldn't be able to do in the past. And now I can work from home on a hobby that creates money. It's absolutely mind-boggling that we are able to do something that we love and actually make money off of it and spend as much time as we can with our kids. My kids get to enjoy this with me. I've made videos like this in the past explaining why I want to do this, but it's the reason why I keep bringing it up is because it means so much to me. And it's not lip service. I have spent my entire life looking forward to this age range that my kids are in. My kids are 6, Olivia, and 9, Dylan. This is the age where they are learning and growing on a daily basis. I absolutely love them when they were kids, or little babies, obviously. And who doesn't love little babies? But I couldn't wait for those conversations, the conversations that I'm now having with my son about just everyday life and thinking about the future and talking even about the past, the things that we've done together. And I get to enjoy this hobby with them. I take my kids to card shows. They get to see what I'm doing. They're interacting with other folks and making a little bit of money and putting in the hard work. You know, when I leave to go to work and paint cars, they don't have a clue what's going on. They just know that I leave for the day and I come home frustrated after a long day's work, and that's basically it. So if they're there with me, right next to me while I'm doing what I'm doing to make money, they actually get to see what is going on. I realize that my kids aren't going to be around in my house forever, and I've been told my entire life that don't blink, it's going to go away fast, and enjoy the times that you have with your kids while they're here. And now I have the ability to work from home and enjoy more time with them. And I'm very fortunate for that. You know, everybody talks about the good old days when they get older and how they miss the good old days. And I have a feeling most people don't realize that they're living in the good old days when they're actually happening. And I have enough self-awareness to realize that this is the good old days. This is going to be the good old days sometime. I'm living it right now. My kids are growing and I get to watch them learn. And the more time I get to spend around them, the better. You know, this channel is mostly about tips and tricks about growing your business and the trials and tribulations of all of that. But I feel like I need to share my journey because it gives a little bit of a background on where my head is and why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, you're only given one life, or at least as far as we know. And I do a lot of thinking about that. As a matter of fact, when I'm painting cars, that's pretty much the thing that I think about outside of my business and my kids and everything else. But I think about, I just have a lot of time to think. I mean, alone in my own thoughts or listening to podcasts. You're a product of what you listen to. You're a product of what you bring in and what you soak in as far as information goes. And I do a lot of thinking about life and what it's all about. Why are we here? That type of thing. I think about that stuff all the time. It's like consuming me, at least in this phase of my life. I don't know. Maybe it's part of midlife. I don't know. I have no idea. But all I know is that the more time that I spend with my kids, the happier I am, the better off that I feel. And I am going to spend every minute that I can with them. Not everybody has the opportunity to do what I'm doing. Well, actually, that's not exactly true. We all can do whatever we want to do. If we put our minds to it, within reason, as I've said in the past, within reason, we live in an age of the internet. And we are able to basically make money doing whatever. And sharing along the way. We're sharing our journey. I'm not making any money off of this. I'm not making money off of YouTube. But the internet allows me to sell a product from home, source inventory from home. You know, there's a lot of years from like the 1800s. This is getting deep. But there's years from like the 1800s to right before the internet where people had to leave, go to work, leave their kids somewhere else with somebody else, and allow them to raise them. And we still live in that world now. But now we have the option to work from home and raise our kids. So it's the reason I go back to the 1800s is because like we used to have like farms, a farmhouse, and our kids would be right there with us working as we're going. And in a modern way, that is kind of what I want. I kind of want to get back to that, where my kids are working right next to me. You know, we actually live in the country. My wife wants to get animals. I'm not big on the animal thing, but I love the idea of working on a farm or with the animals, with the kids right next to me. I don't know. This is just a completely random thought. Sometimes it's hard not to be cynical about the world that's around us and all of the stuff that's happening on the news or whatever the algorithm is feeding you for the day or whatever. You know, it's pretty hard, pretty easy to get down about things. But the fact that we live in a world now where we can basically do whatever we want and make a living on it and raise a family is amazing. And I am so blessed to be able to turn my passion and my hobby into a full-time gig. In just 1 week's time, I will be doing that. And yeah, I'm having a lot of time of reflection while I'm finishing up at work and realizing that I only have a couple more paint jobs. Like, it might be the last time I pick up a paint gun. I've been painting for the last 15 years, and there's a possibility that I'll be done with that and moving on to a completely new venture. And yeah, it's exciting and I'm nervous at the same time, but I'm so less nervous than I was. The closer I get to it, the more I thought I'd be nervous, and I'm actually less. I'm less nervous because I know that I get to spend time with my family. You know, maybe someday we'll take this little card business and turn it into a card shop, and maybe we'll grow it together as a family and it can turn into a generational thing. That would be awesome. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. But I know that I'm going to enjoy the time that I have with my kids while it's here, and I'm going to grow a business with them. That is why I'm doing what I'm doing. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. I'm so excited about this, and I just wanted to share. And I don't know how else to explain it, but it's where my head is. All right, guys. That's going to do it. Thank you for checking it out. If you like my content, you like what I've got going on, this isn't always what I do. I usually give tips and tricks about growing a business and take you along with me on the journey that I have while I'm trying to grow this thing. And if it's something that interests you, I'd appreciate a like and a comment and maybe subscribe. And you can follow me along on my journey. All right, 1 week away, guys. Almost time. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.